So this is my Volkswagen T4 1.9 TD 800 Special, and this video will be edited into the full van tour of me starting the van from cold. Van's been stood for 2 weeks. I've put a new start battery on it. It's been off the road prior to that for 16 months because it's been at Volksfarmers having bodywork done, which took a lot longer than originally planned. Just take the security device off. The van is covered. I don't know if you can see that there. 236378, and we've owned this for 6 years, and it's been ultra reliable. It's ultra fuel efficient. It's a lovely van. Now it does have the turbo boost tweaked to boost to 12 psi, and the fuel pump fuel rate has been slightly uprated, which does give a faster, just a slightly faster idle speed, engine idle speed. We've had this mod done on the van for the last 4 years. Intercooler fitted as well. The intercooler came off of a Mitsubishi L200, but it does make the van so much more drivable on the hills. And we've been all over the UK with this, all over from Devon and Cornwall, right up around Scotland and down onto the southeast coast. And frequently, once a month, I made the 170 mile journey to visit my parents and back once a month. Never missed a beat, and we love this van. We're sorry to see it go, but we now are motorhomers. So I'm just going to stop this and I'll give you a quick look under the bonnet, and then we'll start her up. So here we are, Mitsubishi L200 intercooler. I've always looked after the van. I've always changed the oil every 6 months. I've just changed the oil, as in February 23, changed the oil and filter, new oil pressure switch, new start battery. You see the troublesome gear linkage bushes. I replaced those a couple of years ago. Incidentally, it does also have the 5th gear, lower ratio 5th gear upgrade, so it really does cruise effortlessly on the motorways. I never thrash this van. I normally sit around 60 miles an hour. There's no hurry when you're touring. So now I'll just put the camera at the back of the van and we'll start this up from cold. It's been 2 weeks. There is a little bit of smoke on first start up, but this is mainly due to unburnt diesel. I had the fuel pump professionally tweaked by Simon Cole of SVW Customs. He replaced the seals and the throttle seal bearing on the fuel pump, and he adjusted it for optimum, so it's been set up correctly. So this is the reason I've decided to part with the T4 after 6 years. As she was away for the last 16 months, it shouldn't have been that long. We should have had it back last spring, but it's been this winter. So we should have had it back spring 22, but we got it back January 23. But in that time, we had a look at these auto sleepers, and we much prefer the auto sleeper. Proper shower, toilet, washroom, hot running water. So you can see the size difference between the two. I will move the van further over. I'm going to move my other one on the side and we'll have a full walk around. So welcome to my Volkswagen T4 1.9 turbo diesel 800 special van tour. And we've owned the van for the last 6 years and time has come to part with it. And we've now auto sleeper motorhomers, but it's a reluctant sale because this really is a quirky van and we really enjoyed our trips away. The sale includes the private registration, Hotel 4 Sierra Victor Whiskey. Draw your attention to just a little bit of paint to tidy up on the front bumper. Overall, the van's in good condition. It's been off the road for the last 15 to 16 months. It's been at Volks Farmers in Kent. I'll explain more when we go inside because of the main road. I'll keep descriptions fairly brief out here. I colour-coded all the bits and pieces chocolate brown, including the washer jets, the wiper arms. I use good quality UV resistant lacquer and it stood up to the last 5 years, which is when I redid them 5 years ago. We bought this as a tin top van in 2017, but in 2020 we had West Stubs fit the PopTop, which was a game changer. Wheel arch trim covers. Now the only bad point about the van, had a lot of welding and bodywork done over the years. It's now has a new MOT with no advisories. The only thing left for potentially new owners would be to tidy up the outer seal. The inner seals are solid, but the outer seal to there just needs some TLC. The wheel arch lip was quite corroded when I bought it, so I cut out the old rust, ground it back to bare metal, and to finish it off I painted the trims, put these trims on, packed it with underseal, and during our time of ownership hasn't deteriorated any further. But the actual inner arches, I don't know if you can see, are solid. They're faded because I didn't put any lacquer on them. Sidebars again, custom, painted. I'm more than happy for anyone viewing to put the van up on some ramps, take the trims off, take the steps out. I have had some welding done under the steps, but you can take the steps out, have a good look underneath and make sure you're totally happy. The job I had done at Volksfarmers was the windscreen removed, the scuttle panel de-rusted along with the A-pillars. And as you can see, they did a good job. They took long enough. They did a good job. Take the camera all the way around. The passenger side A-pillar. And the same on the near side as the front. This is the only part really that lets the van down, but nothing that a body shop couldn't sort out for you in the near future. No advisories on the MOT, so it's purely cosmetic. It's taken me 5 years to get an MOT with no advisories. And if you look on the listing, I've listed all what I've had done. I've done a lot of work myself. Bodywork I've left to someone else. But it does just need that front outer sill needs sorting out. Again, I'm happy for anybody to, on inspection, van up on ramps, take the trim covers off, steps out, get yourself underneath, no problem at all. At the end of the day, we like to know what we're buying. Electric windows. We'll go through the inside in a moment. And this is another, it was in with Volksfarmers to have the rear arches completely welded. So we have new metal now. New metal, all the way around, new metal, and even the bumper supports brand new metal. Get the camera up under there, you see very well, but again, you're more than happy to, we can remove these and have a good look. They did respray the rear bumper for me as well. 16 months they had it. I was supposed to have it back spring 22. It's now coming on to spring 23. I've had it back 2 weeks. It's the original plan. I was going to have the, obviously enjoy it for last summer, and it was going to go in again this winter to have the, what I've just showed you, the front sills done. And everything would have been done, but we got bored and the other half preferred the luxury of a motorhome after we hired one, so we went down that route. And once you have a motorhome, you can't really go back. So we have a Fiamma twin bike rack, again colour coded, and it's really stood the test of time. I sprayed this myself, completely disassembled it, used a good quality lacquer. Really sets the van off. Now on the roof, 300 watt of solar panels. And that is a 4G antenna. There is a router inside, I'll show you in a bit. So walking around the offside. And again, the same work carried out underneath the arch. So we have new metal, new metal, new metal, new metal for the bumper support. Obviously the van is lowered on Vogtland springs, 40 mil, it's lowered by 40 mil I think, and it's professionally set up by Simon Coles at SVW Customs. He lowered the torsion bars as well, set the ride up. It's quite a hard ride, but it really sets the van off well, does look good. See if I can get underneath and show you a little bit underneath. There is a diesel heater fitted, and it's in its own box, which is fitted underneath the chassis rail. So just take the camera off its gimbal tripod and give you a look underneath. There's the diesel heater. Don't know how well it's going to show. New brake lines on the rear, new flexis. Everything's listed in the description. There's the inner seals. I'll take you around the other side. So there's the diesel heater. So it's nice and safe on the outside of the van, and the fuel is plumbed directly into the main fuel tank. It's all been undersealed under here. Always kept it clean underneath. Then really needs, if anybody's interested, to give it a full visual inspection underneath. Now if we open the tailgate, porta potty, optional if you want it or not. I'll clean it, sanitise it. It has been shat in a couple of times. Levelling ramps, electric hookup cable. Nobody ever sits in these rear seats. It's always full of stuff when you're out camping. The cargo net keeps it all in. There is a light in this cupboard when you open it the other side. There's the Wi-Fi router, just needs a pay-as-you-go SIM card. There's some cushions. And that's your leisure battery in there. And your jack, hookup cable. So you're pretty much ready to go camping. This here is where your hookup cable lives. This just pushes back into here, and then it's a dummy fog light clips in, which is just inside the van at the minute. So that's your electric hookup. Obviously male end. Let me just disconnect it. Okay, so inside, see, nicely finished seats. We did lose the armrest. You know, you've got to remember, this van was done to take to shows prior to us buying it. When we bought it, we use it all year round. We used it and enjoyed it for camping, and we've done lots of miles, lots of happy trips in this with my partner. This will swivel, electric windows. Now all the accessories in the front all work off the leisure battery, even the fan. The head unit is a Kenwood DAB Apple CarPlay head unit, which works really well. There is a 4-channel amplifier under the passenger seat. Component speakers in the front, so there's your mid bass, your tweeter is in here. Proper audio sport door pockets, quite an early modification. That was never done when we bought the van. I fitted all of this. And then your 6x9s are in the rock and roll bid, which sound brilliant because they got the whole enclosure. You plug it in, your phone plugs in inside the glove box, into that socket there. There's an additional USB charger, because everything runs off USB. USB quick charger in the glove box, which again is supplied from the leisure battery. So phone plugs in there. That's a spare lock barrel, because I have replaced the driver's side lock barrel with a brand new lock barrel. Works on the existing key. There's an auxiliary jack cable should you need it, because the auxiliary input is there, which connects to the head unit. And now underneath the glove box, you probably can't see it too well, but there is an additional fuse box. There's a 4-gauge cable runs from the leisure battery to a fuse box, small blade fuse box underneath the glove box, and that then splits off, operates this from the leisure battery. You see the amplifier, the USB socket, even the 12-volt socket, the original cigarette lighter socket. This now runs from the leisure battery. There's a little rechargeable torch that sits in there. So this works from the leisure battery. The interior courtesy lights runs from the leisure battery as well. All from the leisure battery, so you can park up on a campsite and enjoy everything, enjoy your music without worry of draining your starting battery. You still need the key in the ignition, either in position 1 or off, but the moment you take the key out, it will cut power. And if you want the stereo, put the key in, position 1, and if you go back to off but leave the key in, it will still power the head unit. And it's just booting up now. It does take a little bit of time. Now while we're at the front, the only other problem is that with this control panel, the unscrupulous seller that sold this to me all those years ago, I bought this in the middle of summer, didn't think of checking it, and it's all broken inside, so the heat was permanently on. So I've fitted a Bowden cable, whatever it is, straight to the valve in the front. So heat on, heat off, simple. I tried to get hold of one of these, but these are just crazy expensive on eBay, and I just didn't want to get into it, to be honest. But everything else works. Windscreen, feet and vents, or windscreen, can't remember which way round it is now, but it's kind of trial and error, but it all works fine. Obviously this is a dummy vent. There was a double din head unit. This was already in here, but it was one of those cheap nasty Chinese units, which I don't like. Ashtray. Right, we'll start her up. She is warm. Now the reason this GPS speedo is here, because I'm quite tall, and although the steering wheel is lovely, I'm quite tall, you can't kind of see it above 30 mile an hour to 60. Obviously I'm not really going over 60 anyway, I never thrash this. Just cruise along. It's great with the 5th gear upgrade. So, let's start her up now. Slightly higher tick over because of the fuel rate has been upped on the fuel pump. The turbo boosts up to 12 psi, which is up to 14 is safe on these. There's the chav. It won't boost that much just by revving it. Electric windows. Passenger side. Okay, we'll swivel the passenger seat. So to swivel the seat, you need to open the passenger door. There's an orange catch here. There we go. Swivels back, locks into place. So the table just unclipped, it's on a rail, moves up and down. Quite a pleasant place to be, really. Okay, so right, we have a Dometic CRX 50 compressor fridge. I put this in 2018, a year after buying it, because the original people, they put a cheap nasty absorption fridge in here, and with an absorption fridge they're very power hungry, not to mention you need external air vents like you see on the motorhomes. So as you can imagine, it just heated up this whole unit and tripped out. There was no proper camper electrics in here. There was a thin piece of speaker wire from the start battery via a caravan relay to the leisure battery, which now is a 4-gauge cable, positive and negative 4-gauge cable from the front start battery to the rear leisure battery via a two-way voltage sensing relay. Now the fridge is 12 volt, but when you plug it in, because I never cheap out, I bought the 240 volt adapter, which automatically prioritizes when it sees 240 volt, it prioritizes that and switches the fridge over to 240 volt, so save your leisure battery. So we are plugged in. It's compressing now. Blue light is on. It's on maximum. It's nice and clean in here. I painstakingly colour coded all of this. Took it all apart. Now unfortunately we had loads of fridge magnets on here, and when I bought them just stuck them on, but some of them have got a label on the back, and over the years the label was fused to the paint, and if I pull them off it's going to pull the paint off or leave a mark, so you gain my fridge magnets. But this panel will come out and you can respray it if you want to. Now these were, again, this was done for show. Wine rack, completely useless to us, so I put shelves in here. So there's shelves in here, so they're quite handy storage pockets. Now behind the driver's seat there is another main socket which is activated on the 240 volt. There's a fire extinguisher which I believe is powder. There's another switched USB and a 12 volt cigarette lighter, obviously off the leisure battery. Helps you, sometimes when we went for big camping trips we plugged a cool box in, or if you want to run a compressor or something, pump your tyres up. These non-slips are great. Smev hob and sink. Obviously it's been used. We're not one of these people that do not cook in the van. My partner's cooked up all sorts in here. We just use it and enjoy it. The igniter can be a little bit... oh, there we go, it's working. Cold water only. Vanex curtains. Mug storage above the sink. That's your diesel heater control. Do have a little remote control on the key fob as well. There's your battery monitor. We're currently drawing 7 amps. Reason being is because it's not plugged in on the hookup. Now if I go and plug the plug in, you'll see that current drop, because that's the fridge running full power. So if I just zoom you in, now if I plug in the hookup, the fridge will switch over to 240 volt and you'll see their amps drop. So we're on 7 amps at the moment. So we're now on mains hookup, and you'll see that has now dropped to 2 amps. So that means the fridge is now automatically switched over to 240 volts, prioritised 240 volts. So when you plug in on the campsite, the fridge will not draw from your leisure battery. Obviously that 2 amps is the diesel heater, the stereo at the front, and we'll soon be putting some lights on. So we've got 2 switches. One switch does the strip above the sink, and the other switch does the strip all the way around the PopTop. And you can change colour as well with the remote control. Obviously one 240 volt socket which is now live as we're on hookup, USB quick charge and USB power delivery, 2 more USB quick charges, and a 12 volt socket. Let's slide the table forwards. And you have a 240 volt socket on the seat base. Van X curtains. And that's your carbon monoxide alarm. Now, the gas is very simple. Obviously, there's your water container. Just ordered the strap to go around there. The gas is very simple. It runs off of these very small gas cylinders. You buy these from Go Outdoors because you're only running 2 burner hob. So when you're travelling, turn it off. And for extra peace of mind, you can even easily remove the cylinder. So 100% safe. There's a spare cylinder in here. You can use the Coleman C300, C600. These ones are Go system. There is a gas dropout vent. I did have a Propex heater fitted in here prior to the diesel heater in 907 cylinders, and it just took up so much space. And that was before the Chinese diesel heaters were a thing, so it tells you how long I've had the van for. There's the outlet for the diesel heater, and that was the original inlet for the Propex. The inlet now for the diesel heater is on the sliding door step. Some more storage. Probably could do with tidying these up. It's a bit wobbly, that one. Storage underneath the rock and roll bed. Obviously that's the foam. It's quite cavernous under here. That's the foam for the rock and roll bed, the foam topper, if you want it. If you don't want it, I can bin it. Now inside the cupboard, as if by magic, the light comes on. That's a Huawei Wi-Fi router. Just need to pop a SIM card in there, pay-as-you-go SIM card. There's your 240 volt consumer unit. It's your master isolator for the leisure battery. Voltage sensing relay. This big thick blue cable goes to the front, to the external, to the auxiliary fuse box at the front, via a heavy duty fuse this end, and obviously its blade fuse is the other end. It's a smaller version fuse box to this one, so all the fuses, I will write these out, but for the various different lights, you've got your fridge on 12 volt, you've got your various USB sockets, you've got your lights, you've got your diesel heater, you've got your router. This here is the shunt for the battery monitor, and this here is your input from the solar, which we're parked at the front of the house. We don't get any sun. This is north facing our driveways. We get no sun at all, but when the sun's out, it will charge the leisure battery regardless of the position of the switch, the master switch. And because this voltage sensing relay is a two-way relay, it will charge the start battery as well, but it will only charge the start battery if the power is in this end. So when this is isolated, obviously everything is, including the stereo, is shut off, but it's wired in such a way, if this switch is off and you start driving, you can still use the head unit because of this voltage sensing relay. So I think that's everything I'll show you in here. There is two cushions that match the seats, leisure battery underneath here. These are another internal blind that I tried. It's like magnetic side window covers, so I'll leave them in there, but we tend to use the Van X curtains and the thermal screen, so it's not really in here, so I can show you in there. So So yeah, I'm asking 12,000 for this. That's including the private registration, so I think that's good. It's all ready to go for somebody for the 2023 season and beyond. So this is all set for nighttime camping now. This is a rainbow screens fitted thermal front screen. Which matches all the chocolate brown accents on the van, including the roof. And Vanex curtains fitted all round. Let's get out this noise. Oh, chavs. So there's the rock and roll bed in bed mode. Now underneath the bed, that foam fits on here perfectly and will actually fold back in with the bed, so you can leave it on. It does make the bed much more comfortable, so it's up to you whether you want to keep that or not. So this is the Vanex curtains closed. There's a reading light at the back. Obviously this cargo net just unclips, just unhooks from those two eyelets. You've got map holders. That's to hold a standard 13-inch laptop. Tend to sort of sit up against the wardrobe and watch movies in bed. There's another map holder there. Vanex curtains. Now in the PopTop, we've got a light strip all the way around, controlled by the main light switch. Also, a remote control to change the mood lighting if you want to. I just try and stick with the beige theme with the van. So this is sleeping mode. Now, the rock and roll bed, if you bring this down, you could sleep one adult up here if you really wanted to, or two small children, or one small child. Now there's some thermal screens for the two side windows and the rear window, should you want them. I always preferred at night for the van to be completely black, but the Vanex curtains do a good job of that. But they are ideal for winter camping, or even keeping it cool in the summer. So they store in the PopTop. The rainbow screen from the front will also store up here, and the PopTop still closes. You could even squeeze a very thin duvet up here. So this is bedtime mode. Diesel heater's running. And even with the battery monitor, if you don't want that light on at night, you can use a pin or a key to turn it off. Tells you your current drawing amps and the current voltage. 12-volt socket. USB quick charge, 2 of them. And also a power delivery USB-C. Mains, when you unhook up, here's your light switches, so that's that one and this one. And the front, everything, all the accessories, the audio unit, the 12-volt socket and the courtesy lights, they are wired to run off the leisure battery, so you can run the radio on when you're parked up without any fear of draining your starter battery. Same with the LED lights in the front. These are wired now from the leisure battery. I'll show you once I put the van back in day mode how these are wired and fused. So it's quite a nice place to be. Here we are, VW Bus Magazine, issue 46. This was before we had the van. It has its original registration, Romeo 163 Lima November uniform. And obviously now we're Hotel 4 Sierra Victor Whiskey. So when we looked at the van and the owner showed me this, I should have spent more time underneath the van checking for rust than looking at these pictures. So this is how it was when we bought it. This is how it was. So the interior is the same. Obviously we've added so much more. There's the original fridge, crap absorption fridge. It was just done for show. They did a very good job. Really nice job. But I don't believe it was these people I bought it from. The only thing I've removed are these useless curtains because they would just let too much light in. The Van X curtains, you can't beat them. So, moving on, there's a couple of receipts. I've even found the receipt when I bought it, and please don't laugh, because that's what I paid for this, 13,500, and it had no proper leisure battery, split charge system, proper working fridge. It hadn't come with a new MOT. Surprise, surprise, the following year it had a list of failures as long as your arm. But over the last 6 years we've dealt with it, we've rectified it, spent lots and lots of money. That did include the private registration, but yeah. So we bought it on the 9th of June 2017. There we go. Now, some receipts, because do you know what, I never intended on selling it. I always thought I'm always going to keep it, always going to keep this van. I always said to my other half says, oh, we should get a motorhome. I said, no, that's for Aunt Mabel. It's not for us, we're cool van. So that was for the fridge. So I bought the fridge, and there's the mains adapter. You know, no expense spared, £655 for the fridge and the mains adapter. This was the West Dubs PopTop. So altogether, it's £3,000 for the PopTop. So it's scary when you add it all up. But I work on the basis, it's been a steep learning curve for me. But we've really enjoyed this van. We've had it for 6 years, we've really enjoyed it. This is the latest receipt, January 23 from Volks Farmers, and that was for the removal of the windscreen, repair the scuttle pillar, A-pillar and scuttle panel, and the rear arches, which I showed you earlier. It was at a cost of £2,436. They also did the MOT, and this was a proper MOT, and the MOT has no advisories at all. I did speak to them. I said, if there's anything needs doing, please do it, and they said no. The MOT inspector commented and said it was a really nice example of a van. So all our hard work has paid off. Now it's registered as a motor caravan because I've registered it before the rules changed. So we're on the V5 as a motor caravan. So that assists you with your insurance. I changed the driver's door lock barrel as well a couple of weeks ago because that's a common problem, it all broke up. And I've changed the fingers in the barrel so the existing key works. And I replaced the start battery a couple of weeks ago. There's the Halfords receipts. New leisure battery as well. There's a pile of other bits and bobs, but I never really, because I've done everything myself, I never really kept anything because I've really never intended on selling. So yeah, there we go. So I'm asking 12,000. That's with the private registration. That's £12,000. That's a camper van. It's a 2-berth plus 2 small children. All ready to go. All ready to go for the 2023 season and the 2024 season. Just that minor bodywork in a couple of years. Give that some attention, and this is going to give somebody else many happy trips to come. So thanks for watching, and please message me if you're interested in viewing, and if you'd like for more pictures, I've got loads of pictures. I can always WhatsApp you more pictures. So thanks for watching, catch you again, bye.